All right, thank you guys for being here. So we are gathered here today,
Yes, sir.
to discuss the MetaKamp airdrop with Metakey.
Yeah, pretty cool, man. I'm pretty. So it's still an ongoing thing, right? Minting is still in progress. If you're an owner of one of the earlier editions, you've probably already received your NFT. So congratulations. Claps in the chat. I don't know if we have like a clap button here on this roadcaster, but let's pretend we did.
Yeah.
Claps in the chat for everyone who got their NFTs. So yeah, this is a big deal for us because, metas are NFTs, dude.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
So please ignore the thumbnail, the Rovi thumbnail. It's you know what? I updated it to YouTube just like a minute ago, and it shows fine on YouTube, but it's not showing up in like these cached versions. Pepe God Edition 3 here. Haven't gotten mine yet. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that, Pepe. You're gonna have to excuse me. I've been sick for the last week or so, and I've been losing my voice like pretty much every single day.
No big deal, dude.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I only talk every day, right?
Yeah, little honey.
Yeah,
a little tea. You'll be good as new, dude.
I've tried that. It doesn't work that well, dude.
No,
it's a scam.
It's hokum.
Yeah,
yeah, it's BS, dude.
Well, anyway, all right. So I guess first question up to bat here, Pepe God. It says Edition 3. Haven't got mine yet, but looking forward to it. So everyone who has a Metakey is going to get a MetaKamp of some sort, right? So if you are a key master,
yep,
you're going to get, what is it, almost all of them?
I think 4 of them, right?
4 of them,
because
right?
if you're a key master, that implies you own 3 keys, the first 3 editions, I believe.
Aren't there 4 editions?
Just 4, but I think the key master criteria. Correct me if I'm wrong, Metakey gods in the chat, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there you go. Key
But I thought as a key master you get all subsequent keys.
You do. That's true. So if you were a key master, you probably did get the 4th one as well. So yeah, you probably do get all of them.
Yeah, you get all 5.
Damn, dude.
So,
if you're a key master, that's what's up.
Yeah. So that means if you're a key master, so we'll start from the top because whales.
Yeah.
If you're a key master, you're gonna get all 5. So it's edition 1, 2, 3, and 4. Plus, because you're a key master, you get the pavilion, right?
Yeah.
Is it the pavilion?
The watchtower.
No, the watchtower. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the beast. The beast build. The full 2-story complex.
That's right.
Lots of potentiality in there. It occupies pretty much every square inch of the property. I think maybe tiny little pieces left open, but
yeah,
definitely the biggest build. So Metakey came up with this whole distribution model, which we've been working with this team for a while now. Our roots to the Metakey community go way back, right? If you're familiar with our story. Matty, the founder of the Metakey, he's the guy who brought us into the Metaverse space in the first place. So, shout out to all you guys who are part of the community. I myself am a Genesis key holder, so I'm one of you guys too. So we've always believed in this community.
Mm-hmm.
The whole prospect of bringing more utility to NFTs, because we know NFTs. The whole movement of NFT is just beginning, so there's a lot of experimentation, a lot of figuring out what are some actually more impactful use cases for them. So, Matty being the huge persona he is, and all the influence he's got, and his power of onboarding more partnerships and stuff like that, we believed in that early on. Right?
Yep.
So we understood that, we're aligned with it. And, if you go back to the Metakey website, one of their first bullet points as far as roadmap objectives was the MetaZone integration.
Yeah.
So a lot of you guys probably wondered what the hell that meant. It's been a few months to get that going, right? So this is it. This is the MetaZone integration aspect. And this is ground zero for that.
Yes. So this, I guess, indicates the first step in a larger sort of construction of the metaverse, if you will, with Metakey. And so we did this airdrop because, first of all, we wanted to kind of showcase the technology along with get Metakey community involved in the construction of the metaverse. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, right now, it's extremely complicated to build anything in the metaverse. And these projects like Metakey, if you join our live discussion with the Metakey team, you'll know that, even as big as a team can get, as knowledgeable as they can get, they can't build metaverses on their own. And the best thing you could do is galvanize the community and have them contribute to the construction of the metaverse. And and so what we want to do with Metakey is essentially get the Metakey community involved to make more Metakey content, right? It could be anything. It doesn't matter what it doesn't have to be a game or another building. It could be more buildings if you want. But contribute to like the Metakey community and make some NFTs and then make a little money by selling these NFTs as well as a creator, and contribute to the construction of the metaverse.
Yeah.
And so that is our whole premise here at MetaZone. And and ultimately it's like the community is always going to have a much broader scope of creativity.
100%.
And I mean, we've seen that time and time again. Like, for example, if this is the first time here with MetaZone, someone submitted a DEX as an NFT to MetaZone, a decentralized exchange that is deployable in Decentraland.
Mm-hmm.
And so this blew our mind when it happened, and really gave us like proof that the creators out there are far more creative than any one team can be.
Yeah.
And so we got to leverage that, right?
Yeah. And so I think that's a good segue into like, again, the premise of like this airdrop or this MetaKamp drop in particular, because we know the Metakey community is a big one. So we know there's a lot of like probably unleashed potential, or like, no, not unleashed, just sideline potential as far as creativity, contributors potentially to the metaverse that are just kind of lurking, looking for like their entry, right? Like, what do we do? How do we build? How do we expand this Metakey ecosystem, right? And that goes for any verse that comes into the metaverse, right? So everybody's looking for a way to contribute or participate. So that's why, in collaboration with the Metakey team, we've released these 5 builds that are kind of like, they're think of them as like art canvases, but in like a 3D sense, right? Like they're shells essentially, right? There's some functionality to them. There's some doors that open and close and stuff. So there is some code behind that, but largely it's left up to like the interpretation of like a creator now. Like, how do I expand on this? How do I add more value to this base layer ecosystem that's emerging now? Because I mean, there's a bunch of you guys out here. We're in the process of airdropping. I mean, I think more than 5,000.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood of 10,000 camps. To around 5,000 or more Metakey holders. So there's a massive potential for like some actual, building activity to happen within specifically Decentraland for now.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
For now. So having said that.
So let's talk about how to deploy this in Decentraland. So we got other questions on Twitter as well. So I mean, obviously, we're all in the metaverse right now. Like anyone who's joined this call has likely been into Decentraland and Sandbox and Somnium Space. So you guys are well aware as to like kind of what exactly is happening. But what isn't obvious is like the technical limitations of all these different metaverses. And so one of the questions that we get, and there's a huge discussion happening right now in the metaverse, and we all heard it. We heard it in like just a generic crypto space, right, called interoperability. And so it gets a little bit more complicated. Actually, interoperability is always complicated, right? Even in the blockchain network sense, as well as in the metaverse sense. But there's like different wrinkles of complication when it comes to the metaverse. So I bring this up because we got a question on Twitter asking, is this deployable in Sandbox?
Oh, yeah. We're getting a lot of those questions. Yeah, for sure.
So Sandbox obviously is a huge metaverse. They're like neck and neck with Decentraland in terms of market cap. And but they have a different offering, right? It's Sandbox, right? It is literally so Sandbox is another technical term for like coding and like development. It's like it's a closed loop ecosystem. And so specifically for the Sandbox metaverse, in order to deploy anything in Sandbox, it has to be an NFT from Sandbox. So in other words, you have to build an NFT using their builder tools, which is profound, right? They have a deep builder set, right? You can make games, right, in Sandbox without any code, right, which is crazy. But but you can't take out an existing NFT and just deploy it in Sandbox. I mean, the best you could do is sort of like showcase your NFTs in Sandbox, but that's pretty much it. Like you can't actually deploy an NFT that's not a Sandbox NFT into Sandbox. So that's a limitation with Sandbox. That is sort of like a business decision that they made, and it's absolutely fine, right? That's what they want to do, and they've obviously been very successful. So, but when it comes to open metaverses, Decentraland, Somnium Space, CryptoVoxels, that is where you can start taking existing NFTs and start deploying them there. So that is possible. And that's what MetaZone focuses on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, hopefully that clears up a little bit as to like the technical limitations of what's happening here in terms of, deployability of NFTs. But yeah, I mean, if there's any questions there, please go ahead and ask them in the live chat and we'll be happy to answer them. All right, so let's jump into my assets.
Yeah, like a little instructional course, right? Like, I'm imagining a lot of you guys, this is your first time exposed to MetaZone, the platform. So I guess there's like a couple of core tenets that need to be optionally understood. It's good to understand it as much as you can as a person, but what separates the meta NFT from like a traditional NFT, right? Like, we're used to being airdropped NFTs. If you open your OpenSea, I have countless NFTs that have been airdropped into my my account, my wallet, whatever. I don't know what to do with them. They're really just they're just NFTs, right? They're just images. They might be GIFs that like float around and stuff like that. But largely, there's not much you could do with them in most cases, right? So that's kind of the differentiator of like what a meta is. So we haven't the meta has like an actual terminology to it or an acronym. It's to represent a metaverse enabled tokenized asset essentially. So if you own a meta NFT, like there's functionality to it. It's deployable. It's installable into the metaverse, right? So we're doing this with Decentraland in the beginning because Decentraland is probably the most open of ecosystems and like the most developer friendly. It has like a very robust SDK in order to leverage this technology. So that's kind of the power behind these MetaKamps that all you guys are in the process of being, owners of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you own land, which we know not everybody does, because there's a dilemma to that too, right?
That's right.
Land is very expensive. Not everyone can afford land, right? Especially in Decentraland. I think right now, like the base floor price to like a parcel is probably like $10,000 to $12,000, something like that.
Yeah,
that's not affordable to a large segment of people.
Definitely
right?
not.
So we've recognized that from from the very beginning. Like land wasn't as expensive, but we knew over time it's going to get more and more expensive. So it just increases that barrier of entry, not just for developers, but for users, everybody. So we've created this delegation feature on the platform.
Yes, right? Yes. So now all you have to do is collaborate with another landowner, and then you delegate your NFT to that landowner. Of course, you keep your NFT. You're not sending it to anybody. So you delegate it to that landowner. That landowner can opt to deploy it or not, right? But that's why you have to collaborate, because what we want to avoid is like this spam delegation of people just delegating a bunch of stuff, and all of a sudden they show up in World, right? So it's up to the landowner to decide to like approve that delegation and then deploy it.
Yeah.
But before we actually show how to do all of this, so what's happening right now is there's about 5,000 Metakey holders, and there's roughly 7,000 actual MetaKamps, something like that.
In that ballpark.
Yeah. So each one is being minted as we speak, and so some of you have received it and some of you have not, but if you haven't, you can still go to MetaZone, create an account, associate your ETH address to that account, and once you do that, you can go to the top right here. There's going to be a drop-down menu, and then you can go to this item here called Assets. So this will take you to this page that you're looking at here, and I have a bunch of Rovi assets and Corona Zombie stuff, a weapon and things, and so here you'll see your MetaKamp, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you are a key master, you'll see all 5 of the MetaKamps here. And even though that some of them are NFTs and others are not, you will get them as NFTs, right? It's a process. Mm-hmm. But anyway, right now, even though that you may not have received your NFT, you could still deploy it because it's associated to your account. So the way you would do that is you would click on your MetaKamp, right? You just click on this item, and then you can actually go to your land. If you have land, this is what you would do. You go to your land, you click on this, and then you would delegate. And so here would show all your assets that you could delegate, and then you would click on that asset, delegate it, and then deploy, and you're done, right? And if you don't have land, you would have to collaborate with the landowner, make sure that landowner is already connected to MetaZone, but you would go to the land here and basically search for that land, and then delegate that same process here, and you'll see your MetaKamp delegate it to that landowner, and then they would have to approve it, and then deploy, and then you're done. Right? All of a sudden, it's in Decentraland. So yeah, let's see if we can actually walk you through. So let's say, for example, so I don't have a MetaKamp on my account, but if I did, I want to show somebody. You see how? Let's see, Akash. So he delegated an Ethermon Wildgrass to this guy, and the owner is Simmons. So obviously Simmons owns a lot of these NFTs here, but he's got some delegators, like Akash as one delegator. Okay, mm-hmm. So we're going to delegate transporter here, and now it's installed, and there's a transporter. So here you'll see awaiting approval. So Simmons, the owner of the landowner, would have to approve this, and once it's approved, he'll deploy, and then all of a sudden you'll see this asset in his land. Yeah. So just replace this with a MetaKamp, and it's the exact same process.
Yeah. So it's a big deal because everybody owns assets, right? But like again, land is, I guess, like an exclusive right these days, just because of how expensive it is. But it doesn't mean you can't participate in like whatever emerging ecosystem that comes from Metas, right? Yeah. From MetaZone, from the Metaverse in general, right? Like everybody who owns these assets should be able to participate one way or another, right? The Metaverse, it's finite, it's not infinite. So there's a place for everybody in there, regardless if you have, the capital to, be a landowner. It's the same thing that kind of happens in the, the physical world. Not everybody owns land out here in the world, but, people have assets in the forms of like, businesses or whatever. Yep. Structures, apartment buildings, houses, whatever. They could own these assets and like collaborate with people who actually own the property and the land. And then
that's right.
Through MetaZone, right now these MetaKamps, they don't have any revenue generating potential at the moment. But that's not to say like the verse doesn't expand to the point where there's some revenue generating activity happening within these parcels, right? So part of the platform as well is to facilitate the split of all this activity, right? So it's built in to the platform, you know, but it's not necessarily needed at this point for the MetaKamps itself. But that's kind of like the hope. We're again, the whole going back to the open canvas concept. Like we're expecting like more creators to submit content that can be revenue generating, whether it's like a donation button for some kind of exclusive Metakey event. Who knows? Some kind of auction feature for NFTs in your MetaKamp. Who knows? Yeah. The point is, I can't sit here and like theory craft everything, right? It's impossible. I can't do that as a person. But whenever you give the tools and you give the opportunity to the hundreds or the thousands of people in this community, and they're all theory crafting ways to, create impactful content, engaging content, maybe potentially revenue generating content. That's when stuff starts to surprise us, and like I was like, oh man, I never would have saw that coming. Yeah. Right? So So we're banking on that in the sense that like we've seen it happen in the past, and we're expecting that, and we're gonna continue to provide like support for these new ideas and this new content. Like that's what we do as a platform, right? We want to see more of that.
Yeah. So I have a question for you guys listening out there. So what's the we get this question all the time, like buildings, and we sort of talked about this in the past too. Is like buildings are sort of like a way to kind of personalize your space in the world. Yeah. And but the one thing that you can do is you can like start customizing like the stuff that goes inside the building. And so everything that you see on MetaZone are composable NFTs. In other words, composability means that you can kind of mix and match and combine things together. So like, for example, like we're looking at a piece of land. It's this one is a 2x2. Yeah, this is a 2x2. And all these are assets, right? These are all NFTs that are deployable in that particular, that are currently deployed in this land. And so multiple NFTs being deployed here, you can start sort of being creative as like, well, I can deploy like a game inside my MetaKamp. I can start deploying, different kinds of stuff. Basically anything you see in the store, you can sort of merge everything together and create your own little space. So this MetaKamp serves as like the starting point. And then you can kind of, even if you were crazy, you could decide to scale down your MetaKamp building, put that on top of a table, and then you could just showcase, your different assets that you have on a table, right, in Decentraland if you wanted to.
Yeah, so we have a written post too.
Yeah, let's see if we can pull it up.
Pull it up. I guess we could put a link as well in the chat. It's a Medium article that it's a little more like explains in detail if you guys are new to how to like manage and operate a meta in Decentraland. There's remote features to do that. Of course, there's like account features that you kind of operate through, how to manage your profile, your assets. Again, like the delegation that Will just kind of demonstrated. It's really not that difficult. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone. So if there's ever any question for you guys, like as far as like how to, manage, manipulate, configure, optimize your metas, definitely either start with this guide or just ask us, dude. Like we're always here, man. We live in this Discord, like no joke.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere anytime soon. We've been developing for years in Decentraland, so I mean, this is just the start. Still, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So Hercules, he chimed in. He was like, "There's no easy in crypto, and people are so lost."
Did I say it's easy?
No, we made it easy to deploy. But yeah, there's nothing easy about crypto at all.
That's true, man. What I think is easy is probably like a nightmare for most. But
I remember when I was first learning about MetaMask, like in 2015, 2016.
Oh, dude, I remember just trying to buy Bitcoin in 2014, and I got turned off by like just the attempt.
Yeah. It was like extremely complicated what a MetaMask was at the time. Like it was just really, it is frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, all of us to the point where if it is too frustrating, a lot of people just drop off at that point. So, if anything is too frustrating to understand, guys, definitely I think we have a feedback channel as well in our Discord.
Yep.
Throw it in there. We're always open to new, fresh like perspectives on what it is we're trying to build here, right? I mean, we're still early days. We're actually in the process of like a whole UI revamp. So like what you see today is not going to be what you see probably a month from now, most likely.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but the UI revamp it's going to be better than what it is today. So
yeah,
don't be alarmed. It's not going to be like this chaotic nightmare. Hopefully it should be better. Let's see.
So good point, Hercules. Where are my roles? So we're going to implement that to Discord as well. So if you have like a MetaKamp, you could just sign that transaction, and all of a sudden you get a role automatically assigned to you. So we'll do all that stuff for you guys as well. I was going to say something about the easiness.
The easiness?
Yeah. Well, I forgot what that was. But yeah, like nothing in crypto is easy.
There's a question.
Okay, so Pepe says, trying to place my MetaKamp on a one plot. Do I need to grant permission? Yes. So let me go back here. So the granting permission is an important part because what happens is you're interacting with Decentraland's smart contract, and there's a little bit of a gas fee associated to granting a permission. But what's happening here is that you are granting MetaZone permission to deploy on that land. And so this is like a necessary evil because that's how Decentraland designed their whole metaverse. So Decentraland's focused on decentralization, and that's why they're so valuable, and that's why they have like a huge upside potential. Like they're worth like $4 or $5 billion right now. that's a drop in the bucket to the potential of Decentraland.
Yeah, and the metaverse sector as a whole. But is it true though? Like, because these are assets technically on the platform as of today, like, the grant permission thing is still required. Because
for land, yeah.
Okay.
You're what you're doing is you're granting permission to the land.
Yeah.
And so depending on, we're going to be integrating to other metaverses as well, and it's all up to the different metaverses how they designed everything. Some metaverses don't need granting, right? And so you won't deal with gas transactions in those metaverses, and some will. It's just completely, we're in the wild west of the metaverse. There's no standardizations. There's no like one way to do anything. Everyone's coming up with their fastest way to generate some like hype into the current trend.
Yeah.
And they're just coming out with anything without really thinking about the utility. So we've been around since 2019, 2018, really talking about the metaverse. And so we know all the limitations. We know like what matters in the grand scheme of things when it comes to building in the metaverse. And it comes down to like incentives. Landowners need an incentive to deploy. And they want some method to generate revenue on their land. And so a lot of the stuff that you see on MetaZone could generate revenue. A lot of the stuff are just buildings or just decorations, right? They're not built or designed to generate any revenue. So there's all kinds of stuff that you could deploy into your land, but the most valuable stuff are the ones that generate, revenue. So and that's the value of what we're doing. Is like we provide the tools for creators to make engaging content, and sometimes those engaging contents are play to earn games or revenue generating assets of some sort, like a donation meta. So yeah, pretty much anything is possible.
Yeah. So, I guess the idea is being thrown around of a potential future. I don't know, maybe like some more hackathons for MetaZone to get more creators. I mean, we have tons of submissions that are like in pre-review stages.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna make a lot of announcements here in the coming days of like a whole MetaDrop system. So you guys listening to this, I guess this is the first time we really kind of like spilled the beans on that, but we're not really spilling the beans. It's just, it's just we're kind of like we're gonna reopen the whole meta review process because we've been kind of offline for the last few months with all of that because we've just been so much other things to like prioritize, and but now that we have our content release system kind of figured out, very soon we're gonna reopen the submission process. So that means any creator, all you guys listening, if you have the ability to create 3D content, if you have the developer skills to make that content interactive and functional and, who God knows what, we're definitely encouraging you guys to start submitting these metas again because, the ball is going to start rolling pretty much for like community submissions all over again. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, we've had well over 100 submissions of like new metas. Like we get new ones every single day. And we have to review each one so it's quality assurance basically. Whenever you come to our store, you know that everything that you find in our store is going to work. And then on top of that, like we add a little bit of our own code in there so that the landowners can move your metas in the XYZ direction while in game. So if you're a new MetaKamp owner and you're deploying to a land, you can jump into the world and you can actually move your building, scale it up and down XYZ direction. And position your building wherever you want on your land. So you have complete control of your actual building.
Green Chauffeur, Rovi Matrix for the win. Right on, my guy.
Yeah, Rovi Matrix, dude. So Pepe, that's a good question. It's hard to answer. So he's asking.
We already answered that one.
Sorry. So not Pepe. Insert coin to play. What land is better long-term investment, Decentraland, Sandbox, or NFT Worlds? So this is a good question. It's a valid one. If you're gonna buy land, where should it be? So I'll tell you kind of like my perspective. Decentraland has the most open kind of like utility in terms of like deploying anything in Decentraland, right? Like I said, you could deploy a DEX as an NFT. But it takes developers to make engaging content, right? So there's a high barrier to creating make assets, right? And that's why we created MetaZone, because in order for the metaverse to really be anything of substance, right, we need to be able to create tools for developers to make things that have substance.
Yeah, substantial creations, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Decentraland enables that. It's just, we need to be able to facilitate those tools and bring in developers. So Sandbox, they have that tool to make, substantial items, but it's in their own closed loop economy. So that it's which is totally fine. I mean, Sandbox could have like tons of developers or creators out there making games, and like it could be super successful regardless of being open or not. It's just I don't know. It's which world aligns with your ideologies, right? And the NFT worlds, it's basically worlds that people have generated, and I don't think you could do much in those worlds. But if you like speculating on like attractive like looking things, and NFT worlds would be a good one. So this is just a long way to not answer your question.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's real difficult to call winners and losers in this whole sector, but I mean, it's emerging. Like I said, it's so early. Everybody's kind of like figuring out their own secret sauce and like their own method of contribution. So
yeah.
Try your best to pay attention to everything. As difficult as that is,
dude.
That's what we try to do, and we can't even do it. Yeah. It's just too much happening at once. It's like impossible. But still, try your hardest, and the more you try, the more you'll learn, the more you'll understand. You'll start to come up with your own like value perception of different metaverses. Do you think the social metaverses are going to succeed? For one, they're the easiest to build. So more than likely, you're going to see the most like social type experiences out there in the metaverse. Do you think it's going to be more of like a play to earn utility that's going to make the metaverse succeed? If that's the case, then you should really focus and rely on the ones that have like robust SDKs such as Decentraland, right? That they're focused on like game development and providing more tools for developers to create more robust game economies, right? And there's already examples of play to earn ecosystems emerging in Decentraland, such as Decentral Games. Like they're doing a really, really good job.
They're smoking everybody.
They're doing a really good job. They created like a successful closed loop economy, like from with the casino, of all things. I mean, you wouldn't expect that to happen, but because like the platform of Decentraland and the platforms that Decentral Games projects developers like that have built for themselves, like it's possible. They've proven that concept is true at this point.
I mean, if you understand crypto, you understand that you have to be essentially an economist in order to create anything. Yeah. And Miles knew that pretty much right off the bat, and he gamified the casino. Mm-hmm. And the gamification was applied to his wearables, and now he's like generating like $10 million on his wearables,
something like that.
Yeah. So
like there's then there's other metaverse tenets that other people believe in. Is it supposed to be like a ultra high fidelity experience where it's like mirroring your physical experience? Yeah. Like, does it have to be purely VR? Things like this, right? Like, so you got to come up with your own, I guess, assessment of the future of the metaverse, And it's tough, dude. Yeah. I can guarantee you're not going to be right. In most cases, most of us will be wrong, like in our own ideals or like interpretation, expectations, whatever, assumptions of the metaverse. But that's okay, It's just, that's the kind of the fun in it,
We are so early in the metaverse that the metaverse is going to be what we make of it, what we actually build.
Yeah.
And so that's why, I mean, you could go back to 2019, whenever we started this podcast, I mean, pretty early on, like in episode 11, we were talking about the metaverse, and that's when we interviewed Maddie, and he's the one who brought us into the metaverse in the first place.
Yeah.
And man, I forget where I was going with this.
I don't know. Metakey's awesome.
Yeah.
Hooray, Metakey.
Damn it.
That's why we're all here, dude.
Yeah, I was going somewhere with this. It was going somewhere, man.
Damn it, dude. I think you had the COVID, dude. You got the brain fog symptom for sure.
Yeah, I think so, man. I've been struggling this last week, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But Pepe God, he says, I've started playing with the Decentraland SDK recently, learning more through the Scene repository. and he added a GitHub link there as DCL King by far right now, in my opinion. Yeah. So if you talk to any developers who are jumping into the metaverse, they tend to like Decentraland because of that robust SDK. But every single developer would say, is like, man, this could be a shit ton better. I mean, in the sense, like, right now, Decentraland is using Unity, but like an extremely watered down version of Unity, and there's certain advantages that Decentraland isn't taking with Unity that doesn't make any sense to many developers. But you know, that's the whole point. This is the Wild West of the metaverse. People are going to create metaverses in their own like way. So yeah, I mean, you gotta deal with it.
Yeah. Any questions, guys? I guess we're nearing the hour mark. So
all right,
we got to give away a POAP for one, and then like, if you have burning questions, guys, like, you know, we're not even halfway through like the actual NFT distribution yet. So like, you know, don't fret, don't fear if you haven't received yours yet. It's coming. But beyond that, like, if there's any other questions as far as like, you know, how to use the platform, how to leverage these assets. I mean, how to leverage the assets, we can't really answer. It's just it's going to be up to the community how you guys decide to self-organize, galvanize, whatever. Because we've kind of like left this experiment up to the Rovi community, like it's another verse that we created through MetaZone, and they've kind of, again, proven our assumptions. They kind of like self-organize, they collaborate, they communicate with each other, and they figure out how to delegate these assets to form like a cohesive experience. We've seen it happen, and we're expecting more of that to happen as the game develops, right? So it's still early days for Metakey, where there's like, you know, okay, yeah, we can all collaborate, we can all bridge our assets to a singular location, you know, through the delegation feature on MetaZone. But then what? What do we do from there? Yeah. Basically, we just populate like an area of land with like a bunch of communal assets. We could all hang out together and stuff like that, but there has to be more expansion from there, right? But the point is, like, that's phase one. Just get everyone together. If you happen to own an estate and you're a Metakey community guy, I recommend you start, you know, onboarding some MetaKamps in your state if you got nothing else going on.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, like I said, this is like, we're still early days, and this is like the earliest of days for the creator economy emerging in the metaverse. It's like you see with like Uber and Lyft and all these like gig economies that are happening in the real space. Well, I think there's going to be like a robust gig economy happening in the metaverse. And and it starts with like the creative process of making content, right? And making content that you think are going to be, you know, useful. Like, for example, right, somebody wanted a way to to only allow people with specific MetaKeys into their MetaKamp. Yeah. Right. That you can do. You can actually build it, and you can sell it on MetaZone and enable others to leverage that functionality and it's just build it, right? So I think, you know, when we're doing these partnerships like Metakey and like others, like these sort of needs would be obvious, and those developers who are recognizing these needs are going to build it, and they're going to take advantage and sell these things to people who want them. So this is just like the early days of like this market economy for metaverse assets. So Greenshifter says, I remember you were talking about how the Meta crew might be able to show up as avatars. So this is a functionality that can be added to these buildings. So remember, these buildings are essentially code, right? They're applications. And with these buildings, they can morph based on logic, right? What if Metakey decided to make a game in Decentraland where your avatar grew with experience points, and if you hit level 5, your house looks like one thing or whatever. Like, all of this can be done. There just needs to be some sort of a motivating factor to it to do it. So yeah, functionality is all there. It's just you got to actually implement it.
Okay. So
all right. So who's here for the Popes?
Yeah,
it's like nearly pretty much everybody.
Everybody wants their Pope.
All right, so here's how to get the Pope. Full pixie.
Dude, that's perfect. Oh my god, the timing of
that's awesome, yeah. All right, so here we go. So, all right, you're going to send a direct message to the MetaZone bot, and that's the MetaZone bot. So send him a DM, and the password that you're going to send to this bot is MetaKamp, all lowercase. MetaKamp. And so what will happen is you're going to go through a verification process, and those of you who got MetaKamps first time in MetaZone, you'll be eligible for this POAP because that MetaKamp is an asset, and therefore you can get the POAP. So this bot will ask you to verify like twice or something. So just keep sending it the password, and then eventually you'll get through, and then you'll be issued this POAP.
Okay, so nobody should have an issue with this one, right? Because
everyone here should have
an asset.
Yeah.
But as usual, if you're experiencing any issues with that, just let us know. We want everybody here to receive their POAP to, you guys were here. You were with us to, soak this moment in, dude.
Soak it in.
Soak it in. Soak in it. Soak it in. Whatever you want to say.
Soak in it.
There's a lot of good from this. This was a pretty significant drop from our platform. We haven't done anything to this scale before, I don't think. And, everything seems to be running pretty smooth. So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, I'm happy people are interested to figure out or find out more how to, engage with their metas and stuff like that. Because, this is a whole brand new thing,
Yeah.
Like digital content that's deployable. You own it. You can do whatever you want with it. You could trade it to somebody else on OpenSea if you want. This is cool. This is the start of something I think pretty significant. So appreciate all you guys who showed up to be a part of it. I think we're going to maintain this whole, because we do Rovi calls on Thursdays, I think, every week.
Yes.
So we're going to do MetaZone calls weekly as well from here on out. This is like the first one I think we've ever done. Well, we used to do like roundtables in Decentraland with like, with Maddie and like a few other people. But that wasn't like technically like a MetaZone community call. This is like the actual first one.
Yeah.
Like the platform community call.
Yeah. So Green Chauffeur, good question. So we normally do Rovi calls every Thursdays at, 10 p.m. UTC? Yeah. And so I think on this Thursday, we're going to postpone it to Sunday at 11 p.m. UTC.
Well, that's the thing we haven't even.
No, I know we haven't. Yeah, we haven't even announced it. But yeah, we are going to do something on Sunday. So
yeah. So if you guys don't know, Sunday is like the 2-year anniversary for Decentraland, and it's also our 2-year anniversary because we launched our platform in tandem with Decentraland. Once they opened the gates, we already had metas deployed. We had people hosting metas, and like if you guys were around back then, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was a very unique experience. But I guess we didn't do anything for the 1-year anniversary for whatever reason.
Man,
it just kind of like went over our heads. Like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I think it's just like COVID was happening. It's just kind of like a weird time. But the times are, I guess, kind of improving. There's like other macro threats looming, but
macro threats.
Let's forget about those for the time being. But yeah,
Ukraine, no big deal, right?
Yeah, this is the 2-year anniversary, for Decentraland and for us too. So we want to do something special on that day. So we want everybody to be a part of it. Metakey guys, Rovi guys, just MetaZone people, NFT DJs, whoever the hell wants to hang out. We'll have more details soon.
Yeah. All right. So if you're new to Metakey, so yeah, we got a couple of questions here.
Dude.
All right. I'm going to try to summarize everything for Alan here.
No, that's okay. Questions definitely not too basic. Like nothing is basic. Everything is freaking interesting.
Yeah.
And like new and fresh and discoverable,
So this guy named Matty just started this thing called Metakey, and these NFTs allow you access to different sort of like experiences in different worlds, right? In different metaverses. And so they sold a Genesis drop back in like August, like last year or something like that. And all these like sold out. And so MetaZone is collaborating with Metakey, and anyone with a Metakey has been airdropped a MetaKamp. So many metas, dude. Like everything in our store is called metas. Everybody's name and their mothers are called metas.
Yeah, I
remember, dude. I remember when we selected the name MetaZone at the time. I was like, man, we're edgy.
You thought that?
We're the only ones like freaking called meta anything.
I guess back then maybe it was a little edgy, but
it was.
Now
man.
it's like total not
it's like,
so edgy anymore.
Yeah, it's so snore.
Maybe
it's like lame. But anyway. Yeah, man, I'm losing my train of thought here. So we airdrop these MetaKamp NFTs, which are buildings that look like this. All right, let's go to the verses. All right, so they look like this, and so you can kind of like go to the verses page and kind of zoom in and out. And so all of these things are deployable in Decentraland with a single click from our platform. And so if you have a Metakey, you're going to have a building. If you are a key master, you're going to have all 5 buildings. And this is what the ultimate building looks like. This is called the Watchtower.
Yeah, it's a beast.
Yeah.
And these all fit within like a 1x1 parcel, which is, majority people own 1x1 parcels. So
yeah.
There's no worry about that.
So so these are like little applications in the metaverse, and they could morph into something bigger in the future. You can morph them, right? You could decide to contribute and start adding stuff to your buildings, like through MetaZone, and basically any metas can be composable within this building. You can deploy games inside, a pool table, a pinball table, like pretty much anything. What else? So we did this airdrop. It's essentially 5,000 or so NFTs are on the process of being airdropped. If you haven't received your NFT, you will receive it. If you have a Metakey, you can go to your My Assets page here on the top right. Once you create an account, associate your ETH address, and you'll see your MetaKamps in here. And then if you click on the MetaKamp, it'll tell you whether it's on-chain or off-chain. So if it's off-chain, you will get an NFT. If it's on-chain, you can click on this, and it'll take you to OpenSea. Did that summarize everything? And
yeah, I mean, I guess and then what is the Metakey? So then, yeah, you talked about the Metakey itself, right? Like the Metakey, it's because the main utility and the purpose behind the Metakey NFT itself is it's like access and like exclusivity, whatever, utility, all that stuff. These are like the main core tenets to a Metakey, right? So this is just one of the examples of that. But like Metakey owners have received airdrops in the past. And Maddie and the team are hard at work at, developing more partnerships to expand that ecosystem even further, So, again, like we said earlier in the call, we align with the Metakey vision and the ideologies behind it is like as far as like bringing more utility to NFTs, focusing on the metaverse and like galvanizing a community that's interested in contributing to the metaverse. That's why we're collaborating with that community. So this is just the start too. Like we're going to continue working with the Metakey team and see how we can expand this verse even further, support creators further, support, maybe new platform features that need to be developed in order to, solidify maybe like some more economic advantages to being like a Metakey verse participant. There's a lot to talk about. Like this, we can't cover it all in like one conversation. So like if you're really interested in like what the direction of all this is headed, definitely recommend you guys just attend as many calls as you can because we're going to be talking about this probably for the rest of our lives, most likely. There's like no escaping it at this point. So
yeah,
I mean, we're going to do our best to be as transparent as possible with these Discord calls. We have a YouTube channel too where we mostly talk about the same stuff.
Yeah.
We have a podcast where we talk about the same stuff most of the time. So there's no shortage of content to digest. And we're going to write as much of this into like our Medium content as well. So we talk about it in our Discord. So yeah, if you really want to know more, learn more, understand like the whole aligned vision of this stuff, just hang out with us.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, man, we go live pretty much very often, at least once a week, if not more, depending on like the situation. Like I mentioned, we have a podcast. We talk about this all the time. And if you were crazy enough, if you wanted to see what the genesis of MetaZone like actually looked like, we basically, this whole process of creating this MetaZone was completely transparent, like literally like day one transparency. And so, yeah, I mean, if you're crazy enough, you could go back to our old videos and like watch our thought process when creating this stuff. But I doubt any of you guys are crazy, so no need to do that. There was a question here. Was it J.E.? ETA on the last airdrop. So I guess won't let me verify for the Pope. So you don't need an NFT to verify. What you need are assets. So if you go to MetaZone, create an account, associate your ETH address, and you go to their assets page, if that ETH address has a Metakey in it, you will see MetaKamps in here. And these qualify as an asset, which is a prerequisite to get a Pope from the bot.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, if you guys aren't regulars, the reason why there's a couple of added steps for us is just to eliminate or prevent like the whole Pope cartel from like siphoning all these POAPs, because we actually do giveaways and stuff like that with them. So if we made it too easy to where like bots and paid accounts, whatever the hell are in here every call to get these easy POAPs, it would kind of like diminish the purpose of like leveraging them as like actual useful assets to determine well, that's the whole attendance. Like that's what the POAP stands for. If you attend these calls, whatever the hell, you get this asset to represent your attendance. Do you want like a cartel of people who really don't give a damn about what the hell we're talking about, like what's going on, to like compete with you in these giveaways? Yeah, I don't think so. But the giveaways is just like one aspect of what the POAPs could be good for, and that's just what we're using it for now. But yeah, we've taken additional steps just to kind of like make it more genuine, I guess. Yeah,
and if JE, if you're still struggling, just send me a DM and I'll help you out.
Yeah.
So yeah, what time is it? It's 2:00. Okay. All right. Well, that has been the discussion on MetaKamps, NFTs from Metakey. I guess the great takeaway here is if you wanted to build content for Metakey, you can now. And I guess if you make content under the Metakey brand, it'll be reviewed by Metakey, and once approved, then royalties, like a royalty will be sent to Metakey anytime you sell your asset, but you'll still get the majority cut as the creator. And I mean, you get to leverage the Metakey brand. Metakey gets more brand awareness because there's more content out there, and you get to contribute to the metaverse. And our whole platform is designed to be interoperable between worlds in the future. And so imagine if you're creating content in MetaZone and all of a sudden it could be deployed in 100 different metaverses. Like that is the ultimate goal. And hopefully you guys agree with us and join us on this journey here. Other than that, I appreciate you guys for being here. If you have any other questions, we have Discord connected to our veins. And hit us up on Discord. And I appreciate you guys for being here. And yeah, that's it.
And we out.
All right, guys.
All right, shout out Meta Crew. Shout out Rovi's. Shout out all you bad motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Peace out.
All right. See ya.